Hi everyone, hope you're well. I'm just going to run through a few of the targets that we got at the club. A few people have asked what we use, and we're intrigued to see how we fix them, what we use to fix them, etc. So I thought I'd just show you basically what targets we use and how they're made. So if we start with these are very simple to make. All this is a bit of trampoline tube, bit of pipe. Doesn't have to be anything special. Ideally, if it's thinner, it does make a better ting than scaffold bar. If you ever tried to use that, they don't make as good a noise. But you can basically cut these to any shape, size should I say, as you want. So you can have them small like that, and then just drill a hole straight through it and out the other side, and then you just put your bolt straight through. Or you can have them longer like this, which are great. You hit them and they spin round, make great noise and just fun to shoot basically. We used to have these originally just on bits of string hanging down from a branch, but what ended up happening is when there's a few of you shooting, you would hit it and it would just swing to and fro for ages. So the reason why we've done it this way is just literally it's a quick reset. You hit it, it spins round and it stays still again, ready to shoot, and you're shooting the same target as well, because sometimes when you shoot them on the string, they don't sit the same or vice versa. So that's what we do with them. And again, we use the timber lock bolts because they're the strongest bolts out of all of the ones we've used. We've used domestic screws, sorry, as I call them, and they just snap. So that's got, I believe it's an 8mm hex head on there. Just drill that into either a little stump that you can put out. You can either bang some stakes in where you want it, drill it straight in. So that's set like that. Or if you find a dead bit of tree you want to attach it to. I mean, when we set these to any trees, like any of the targets, normally it's trees that are going to be eventually sort of thinned out, because we've got sort of like a program going at the wood where we're maintaining it and doing some coppicing, etc. So always try if you can to put it into some dead wood or a tree that you know is going to be used in the future. Moving on to these ones, these are our preferred choice. We still use these because they're great fun, but for me, having spent loads of money on different targets, we found that these are really good. If you've got access to a welder, and please don't judge me on my welding because I'm not a welder, basically 3mm thick discs, and then on the back, looks like a pigeon's welded that on there, I've basically welded one of these floor fixings straight on the back. It's not a timber lock, it's a floor fixing. And these things are brilliant because they've got the strength in them, but also you can literally hold the target in your hand like that, just tap it into whatever you want to put it into and just screw, and that will just pull itself straight into the wood, so you don't need any tools with it. You don't need a spanner or anything basically. It just literally self screws in. And the good thing with these, why we prefer these at the club, is because you can angle these. If you're shooting somewhere where you've got the target set out and you want to angle any rebounds, which sometimes happens, but with these you get hardly any rebounds at all, because you can just tilt them down like that, or left and right to wherever your peg stand is, and it deflect the shot off into an area where no one is, which these are really good. And that's my fingernail doing it. When a ball hits that, they make a great noise. Really good targets. And rather than trying to go real small with them, if you're looking at it thinking it's a big target, which it is, that's I think that might be about 75mm, 80mm. So you get the good ring out of it, because the smaller you go with the target, the less ring you get out of it. And if you're putting these out sort of 35 meters, sometimes the only way you can actually tell if you've hit it, if you can't see your shot going out there, is the noise coming back, so the relay of the shot. So the ding is really important. If it's a small target, as I say, you can hardly hear them. So if, for example, if you want this target out there but you want to be a lot smaller with it, just position it in such a way that something can cover the front of it, i.e. a branch or a dead twig or whatever, so you can only see part of the target. That means that when you hit it, you've still got that really loud sound, and it's, rather than everyone going like we do, my mates going, oh, I hit that, no I didn't, yeah you did. you can't argue, that noise is so loud. So that's what I'd recommend. I will do a video showing you guys as well at the club them set, so you can hear it, you can see it, and hopefully that works well if anyone wants to try them. Also, if you don't have access to a welder, or these are all cut from a laser cutting company, just cut them with an angle grinder square. They don't have to be round, it's just the preference that we've used. As I say, if you haven't got a welder, the other way, just drill a small hole in there, and you can just use little tacks. It doesn't have to be anything, you know, massive in there, just something loose. Put a nail in there, tack it on, but leave it with the head out enough you can just easily pull it out, and that'll be fine. So that's your other option. Again, they don't have to be round. If you haven't got access to anyone you know that can cut these round, just cut them square with your angle grinder. Or failing that, you can buy a hole saw kit. I think Screwfix them for metal. So if you bought a 3mm thick sheet of sheet metal, you can actually drill them all to your own specification, and the hole's already in them. So, you know, you can just go straight out and use them. So basically, if we set spinners out on the course, we use these metal spinners on a timber lock screw, and we use these metal tubes just to slide over the timber lock, and they're used as a spacer so that that keeps that spinner at the end of the nut. So every time you hit it, it spins round and resets itself exactly where you want it to be. If you don't have tubes at all, you can just set the screw at a slight angle like that, so if it does spin up, it slides back down to where it is meant to be. But we have had problems where if we don't use these tubes, when they're at the angle, it can flick up, and sometimes it gets caught like that. So we've just put the tube on as a spacer just to hold them exactly where they need to go. And then what you can do with this, I think that's an 8mm hex head on there, you just drill it straight into a dead bit of tree or into stakes if you put them out, and that just holds it like that, just keeping that, as I say, just so it's in place every time you hit it. So they're the spinners that we use. Very easy to connect and put in anywhere you want. We use them down to 20mm as well. These are little 20mm ones. These are brilliant little targets. Again, we've got shorter bits of metal here just to drill them in, and they reset themselves lovely. Right, that is all of it, and the last thing really was for us is the paints. As you know, different times of year, different foliage, different colours are hard to see, especially when you're doing targets. So we always try and use fluoro colours. Now, the only way really to get the most out of your fluoro colours is using white primer. Now, I always use white primer, it brings the best out of them. If you use grey, it will make the fluoro more like a dull colour. So the most important thing is always use white primer. Some targets when you set, just alone the white primer, depends on what background it is absolutely fine to shoot. So just remember, wherever you set your targets, different colours work better different times of year. But if you're always spraying white, it saves you buying the primers and the fluoros if your primer colour just works. Because as I say, everything's got so expensive nowadays. Like these cans, I think, were about 12 quid each. So in an ideal world, white would be the way forwards. But if not, you've got your reds, yellow, and also pink works really, really well. But that's just a few little things of what we use down at the club. And the targets we use. I will start trying to do like a catapult series where next time I'm going to do a video down at the club, these set up, I'll do some shooting, you can see me shooting them and hear the noises that they make. Also going to do one on the range, how the range is made, how we got it together, ways of making it so it's affordable rather than having to use like the mesh to catch the balls like on the archery ranges, because that stuff's expensive. So there's loads of bits I'll go through on it, but I'll try and do a series, maybe one every 2 weeks, so basically everyone can sort of see how a catapult club was made, how we do things, and hopefully it will help people want to make their own club or do their own bits. So I hope this has been handy for a few of you. Any questions, please always ask. I'm on Instagram as well if anyone wants to send a message, and I'll do my best to try and help. As I say, I'm not an expert, but these are just things that we find work really well down the club, and the targets last really well. As I say, before I go, if you look at that target there has been absolutely peppered. It is slightly thicker though, 5mm, but they really do last. So it's definitely worth doing that if you guys fancy making some fun targets. And stay tuned, I'll do the next one at the club, and again I'll do some other bits as well. So thanks for everyone that subscribed and likes the videos, and hopefully, as I say, in all my videos I improve and get better with time. And thank you very much for the support from everyone. Cheers guys.